Hey traders, Cousin Benny coming to you on March the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Looking at the sectors the way we closed on Friday, we can see that XLU Utilities was one of the few that stayed positive after it broke out. We also see that the industrials, XLI, did fairly well, and materials, XLB. We see semiconductors did get quite a hit, and IYT looks pretty decent, closing a little bit off its highs for last week. I am looking at a few setups in the utility sector, so I'm going to just go through these really quick. We have AEP, which is at highs. You can see where stochastics is. We're overbought, but we have a nice trending 20 period moving average. We have BKH, Black Hills, which nice trending 20 period, and we're overbought there as well. CMS looking pretty well, overbought, but we do have a breakout here and continuing to trend higher. Calpine, same thing. We have a breakout area, came back. It looks like we're coming back to test this breakout area, and we're overbought. Dominion, which happens to be my utility provider. They provide the fuel, and I have First Energy as my utility company, which you can see has a little bit of a better pattern, bottomed, and it's moving higher. First Utility was hit in November because of the storm here in New Jersey. Took quite a hit. Con Edison, you can see that this looks probably the best chart of the bunch. This provides a lot of power for Long Island, Manhattan, and the boroughs. So we can see we're moving off the 20 period. If this doesn't shoot up on Monday, you could have a good entry here off of this bounce off the 20 period. GXP, Great Plains Energy, nice cup. Looking for a handle here. Maybe stochastics moves back down, gives us one of these numbers here. A handle down to the 20 period, which could be kind of interesting. Pull back to this rising 20 period, and then a move higher. As you know, cup and handle is a continuation pattern, so if we do break out here, look for a continuation. PG&E Corporation, nice cup here. We could see a nice handle. Note where MACD is. And we came off the 20 period, so we're away from our buy area, but if we pull back again, look for a bounce off the 20 period. TECO Energy, look for this pattern here to break out. We look like we could get a turn down on a stochastic, so just be aware of that. The separation between the stochastic signal lines isn't that great, so you don't see a lot of momentum there. But we have 3 green candles, and the 20 and the 50 looks like it wants to continue to move higher. So keep an eye on TECO. And XCL, which is what I started out with. XL Energy. Nice pattern was turning up here with the candle glance. XLU looking good. I am looking for some continuation on the utility stocks. Also, if the market turns down, safety stocks like XLU, XLV, and your setups in there, and consumer staples. Oracle is a long-term hold in our IRAs. Remember, we had a buy area here at 34.70, and this continues to move higher after consolidated back to the 20 period. Didn't quite get there, and then now it's moving higher. So watch this level here where we are breaking out. Okay, stochastics has turned back up. So Oracle's pretty strong. Morgan Stanley was a trade that I took on Monday that I'm still in, swinging over the weekend. You can see we had this breakout area here, this little consolidation, this recent high, these highs back here. My entry was on Monday, and this candle here. And I'm looking for this high up here. I'm not sure what the news was with respect to their stress tests, but they apparently did better than some of the others. EWJ is another portfolio IRA long-term for the time being because of the the easing that the Bank of Japan is doing, similar to what we did in 2008, 2009, and over the past few years, where the Bank of Japan is printing money just like we did. You can expect their market to continue to move higher, okay, as the price of their goods gets less expensive with the yen dropping. Some of the retail stocks I'm looking at for continued shorts. Ralph Lauren is looking a little weak, coming right back down to the 50 period moving average, so there could be a bounce there, and stochastics could turn back up. Looking at Ulta, had some news last week with earnings. Okay, we had a nice drop there. Stochastics is oversold. Walmart could be a pullback to breakout. I noted this on Thursday, and we started to see this move back down, but stochastics is pointing lower. ANF is a position I swung over the weekend. We have stochastics overbought, and we didn't get back up to this recent high, so there's some divergence there. I'm looking for this to continue to move lower off of these 20 and 50 period moving averages. Depending on what you're looking at, this high that we put in 2011 and this pivot here, or if you're looking at this breakout level and we're overbought, we could conceivably bounce off of here and move a little bit higher, but for the time being I'm swinging this short. I have puts, so that's ANF. Target, I believe Bluefield is playing this, looking for a pullback to break out, get the stochastics down here a little bit, maybe get some momentum to the upside. Radio Shack, which Delta Strike pointed out last week, we have this gap fill area up here, and we made a nice rounding bottom, so we could see this moving higher. Stochastics is overbought. Zales, more of a specialty, obviously a retailer with jewelry. Double bottom pattern. Looks like we could build out of this going into the end of the year, which obviously is the best time of the year for Zales. The last quarter going into Christmas. Starbucks, I heard the analysts on CNBC poo-pooing this one, that they wouldn't buy it. It's overbought. There's a pullback to breakout area here. Conceivably we could come back down to the 20 and the 50, which would be a good buy area in my opinion. Green Mountain also is a bit overbought, and up here way above the 20 period we could see a pullback to this breakout area here and the 20 period coincident. This is actually a nice setup if it comes back down here over the next week or so. American Eagle, you can see that we've been moving sideways for the better of 4 or 5 months, and stochastics isn't giving us much of a signal. It's just wanted to show out more retailers. REI, the mountain climbing and outdoor type of apparel and equipment. We can see that we have this double top, and we could move back down to the 50 period, which is inclining and looks pretty decent. Pretty good company too. JCPenney, which we all know got hit pretty well. It's putting in a bear flag down below this level here that we broke below. I saw the 1618 extension, or the 1612 extension, which is down here, which it came down and tested after breaking down below this level here. These two pivots and moving higher. Okay, so this is something to watch next week as well. Noted that the shippers were doing fairly well last week after a tweet I got from my friend Joe Macaluso. Ace 52-week highs is a good follow. We can see that we were making higher lows. We had a nice break here, and we had the 20 and the 50 turning higher. Also, obviously a cheap stock, and a lot of people don't like trading it, but Dry Ships is in with that group. Wouldn't be surprised to hear Scott Riddler talking about this stock. He tends to trade this stock on occasion. Also, PRGN, which is something that I was watching last week, doing well. We have Diana Shipping. They're putting a nice rounding cup here, or saucer shaped pattern. Nordic Tanker, nice pattern here. This looks about the best of all of them. We could break out of this ascending triangle pattern. We also have Matson, And TK, they have several different corporations, Canada, Bermuda, and a few other ones. So this one looks pretty decent in terms of being closer to oversold and in this bigger pattern. But we are below the 20 and the 50, so keep an eye on where your 200 period is on TK as far as shippers are concerned. Okay, so 200 down here at this level, at this lower trend line. So that's a good area. If we come down here, we get oversold, that we could bounce. Okay. Looking at the bigger picture, the S&P 500 on the monthly, you see the 2007 highs here at 1576.09. We have yet to reach yet. The recent point and figure highs at 1525.01 and continue to move higher. Note MACD histogram. Also note that we're very close to the April-May sell and go away area. Be aware of the market cycles, November to April, May or so. That Stock Trader Almanac pointed out in the past. I wouldn't be surprised to see a test of 1576.09 this week or next week. But keep an eye on your MACD. When you see this start to turn down, that would be your signal to start lightening up on your portfolio positions in your IRAs if you're long. The NASDAQ composite looks pretty much the same. We're coming up, we're testing those highs, and we look like we're pretty much touched it, so it's pretty close. Close call. If you look at the daily, you can see that we're pulling off of that area as well. And the Russell, we're above these highs that we put in and that channel that we drew going back to 2012 highs. The 127 extension is right up here, taking this recent pivot and that recent high. All right, so that's a good area to think of in terms of a pullback area. Keep an eye on the carry trade, DBV. You want to see this moving lower if you're bearish and moving higher if you're bullish on equities. You can see that we hit this high here and we're pulling back off. The 20 and the 50 period are just below. We look at the Euro US dollar. Euro was down below the 129 level, or close to the 129 level, and bounced. So we could see some upside here if we see continued weakness on the dollar. US dollar, Japanese yen. These two have been at it in terms of who could ease better or faster. So you can see the dollar is pulling in somewhat. And of course the AUD JPY, which is more reflective of the carry trade, the Aussie yen pair. Okay, 127 extension is up here off of these levels here that we broke out above. This is the 127, and we're meandering around that area right now. We could conceivably come back down to this lower trend line and the 20 and the 50 period, with MACD starting to turn lower. Looking at GTO's bond stock ratio, we can see that we did turn up, but we then moved back down very quickly as we made new highs on the advanced decline. Alright, so we can see that the signal line is to continue to move lower. So that's something you want to keep an eye on this week. I'd be surprised if GTO doesn't talk about it going into Monday. And looking at our momentum indicators, NYMO is meandering around the 10 level. If we saw some more selling this week, we could see this move lower. Looking at the NASDAQ Summation Index, we had buy signals here, we had a sell signal here back in February where we had this dip down, and we have yet to see a sell signal on the Summation Index presently, but we are back up those highs. Remember, if you remember the chart at the upper trend line on the comp. This is a chart of the European top 100 stocks index. You can see that we have these pivots that we've moved off of, and we pulled back a little bit on Friday, but this is showing lots of strength as well. And this is a chart of ACWI, the all-world best of breed stocks that I like to follow as well. Note we're above the Kirby level, and the moving averages continue to move higher. And the Euro US dollar, remember that this is moving higher as well. Note the bounces up the 200 and the 50 periods here, 250. but note the lower volume. Alright, so this is getting a little bit more suspect. Just keep an eye on these indicators. Note your volume, note your MACD, and stochastics. Chart of the dollar. You can see RSI has really moved down very quickly. We're back down to the 20 period, which is the dotted line, after pulling off of the Bollinger Bands. Note stochastics, MACD crossing over. The ADX, that uptrend, is peaked. Okay, and CCI is turned back down. So that's the dollar. Let's take a look at the copper, which we can note is at lows. If you draw a line through here, you can see that we're at the lows of this triangle pattern, with stochastics pointing lower, and MACD looks like it is flattening out. Alright, so that's going to do it for me for the weekend. I hope your trading goes well. Look back through these stocks that I pointed out for good setups. This is what I'll be watching. A group of about 36 stocks, and a few that I did swing into the week. Take care. I hope this helps, and we'll see you in the room on Monday.